Instead of doing three items like we've been doing, I figure, it's like here it is. It's holiday season. Happy holidays, everyone. And start off with the chicken corn chowder. The chicken corn chowder is something that we make in house, and it's basically made with chicken. There's grilled chicken. There's flat beans. There's corn. It's a cream-based soup, so it's very hearty, and it's great for this time of year, especially for the cold.
I'm thankful that you all have decided to spend a couple of hours with us this evening and taking someone's story who is truly amazing and whom I think we can each take something away from that can probably make us better. And that's the whole point of Sincerely Chosen. It's highlighting people of influence or interest who just have great stories for everyone to be able to, in a way, feed off of spiritually and hopefully be a better person. The documentary is called 25 to Life. And it really just follows him from the moment he decided that he wanted to start to rectify his past, that he wanted to make things right, that he wanted to change the projection of his life, and where he felt he had really started to find his purpose.
It has been nearly 3 decades since this virus first became known. For years, we refused to recognize it.
So when I was diagnosed in 1980, HIV wasn't even considered to be HIV. It was a disease known as GRID, which is gay retroviral infectious disease. So there was very little education about this disease. Because of my diagnosis and people like Hadia Broad and because of my diagnosis and people like Broadbent and people like Ryan White, they began to take a closer look at how HIV was contracted. GRID, which was gay retroviral infectious disease, had nothing to do with my diagnosis because I was a baby. So I wasn't gay and I had to find anything about myself. And I contracted the HIV through a blood transfusion as a result of being burned. But because there was so very little information about the diagnosis and about the disease, there was a lot of ignorance. And as a result of the ignorance, a lot of people were displaced, a lot of houses were burned down, a lot of people's families were being tormented. And growing up where I grew up, my family decided that wasn't going to be our story.
Did you take precautions? Did you, did this affect you at all? Or was it just, did you put yourself in the mindset, hey, I'm doing what anybody else does? Like, this is no different. This is, what was that?
I've never got that question before.
I tried.
And back to my first time, I remember it, and it was more so. See, my fiance said, "Dog, that's trouble."
I mean, she already going to marry you now, so she's in it.
We ain't walking out yet, though. We ain't walking out. I ain't close.
Just hang in there. He got through it. That girl don't do nothing. She is going.
She going.
You good?
But I remember it, and it was, and I took every precaution, and like most people with their first time, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? But it's just something that I felt that I was ready to do and felt that I had to do. But we did take every precaution. And actually, the lady who I expressed my first time with is actually in the film. Yeah, she's the one she's in the film. So, yeah, she's in the film. But, we started out engaging in protected sex. I'll be completely honest. We started out like that. And, as relationship built and as sex started expanding, we started out having protected sex, and then months later we didn't. And I felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. And I told her. And she was cool with it. She still wanted to we was 18, it was high school sweethearts. She still wanted to get married. She still wanted to, go to the prom and blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't an issue. And so I left for school, and I went to Howard, and she went to school in Philly. And I left for school in D.C., and we broke up, long distance relationships, blah, blah, blah. And I get a note on the door from the president of my school on a Friday night. And it was to call his office. So I called his office, And on a Friday night, and he says, I need you to come in tomorrow, which is Saturday, because this is a matter that we can't discuss over the phone. So I'm automatically thinking, you know, my bill not paid, you know, they're about to kick me out because my grades are not the grade. I don't know what to think, you know, and then I'm starting to think like something happened in Philly. So I call my mom and ask her, is everybody okay? You know what I mean? She said, everybody's cool. I don't know if bills paid. I don't know what time it is. I get to his office, and this is also when email first came out, And he says, he hands me a paper, and it's an email that Tasha sent.
And this is your ex?
This is my ex. And it said, Bill Brawner is HIV positive, and he is infecting everybody in the school.
Figure out whether this was true or not.
That was illegal.
Yeah, that's what okay.
But, you know, after she sent that email, you know, severe panic. I know she was gonna come out with flyers. I know she was gonna come out with a billboard. I didn't know what she was gonna do, you know. And I totally separated myself from anything dealing with HIV and AIDS. Meaning, not only was I no longer disclosing, but to me, as a young person, as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old who had been living with HIV at that point for 19 years, I was no longer HIV positive. Honestly, I lied to myself so much, I made myself feel that I beat the disease because I couldn't deal with it. And I even told my doctors, I promise you, I told my doctors, and this is funny, but it's really not funny because it's real, but I told my doctors that the cure for HIV was peanut butter and push-ups. Yeah.
There ain't that much damn protein in the world. That's not to cure that.
This is what I believe.
What did
because I
they
was
say?
like, he looked at me like I was crazy.
Because in the film, you are portrayed as a ladies' man. Like Billy was that bull. Well, you know, what were you like in college and on the scene?
I was that it was a lot of us.
It's okay, you could do it.
I went to Howard University in DC. And, you know, anybody from Philadelphia, when you go anywhere, they automatically know that you're something different. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody said yes.
Yeah. So when I was in DC as a boy from Philly, you know what I mean? We say boy, they don't say boy. They can't even spell it, right?
Is it bull? Is it B-O-L? B-U-L? Okay, because sometimes I use the bull. Because it's bull. It's bull. So you can tell I'm from Pittsburgh because I've been saying it wrong. I spell it B-O-L. Bull. I'm from Pittsburgh.
Ah, see?
I just want to ask you, was during that time, I mean, did you know, sometimes when you're home, you're late at night, you're by yourself, you're in the dark, you know, did you ever have those moments where, you know, you felt, you said you kind of made yourself believe it. So I was going to ask, though, if you ever had those moments where you felt guilty. Like, even though in your mind you had gotten yourself to believe that you didn't have it, I mean, was there ever that moment while you were in college where it was like, I'm acting normal, but it's just not?
Yeah, I feel guilty 2014. You know what I mean? That was 99, 2000. You know, I even feel guilty to this day. And honestly, it even feels worse because, you know, I feel like we're doing all this, you know what I mean? And there's still people who are upset, you know? And I do everything I can, I do everything in my power to right the wrongs I made and then some, but it doesn't always work like that.
Right. So how did you get to the point where, you know, we get to see in the film where you're starting this process of, I need to start righting my wrongs. Like, I need to reach out, I need to come clean about, or I need to disclose. I mean, what got you to that point where you're now in front of people and on camera and, you know, you have this nonprofit? Like, what was that moment where you decided to own your diagnosis and what your life is?
There was a lot of moments. It was one particular moment where I started going to church more and started seeking the Lord for myself. And when you go to church and you have something on your heart, you feel like the pastor's speaking directly to you every single time. And he kept talking about telling the truth and being your authentic self and blah blah blah. And he kept hitting me and hitting me and hitting me to a point where it's like, yo, I got to start disclosing. But another major part of my life that I still reflect back to, that's even talked about in the movie, is when I lost my first kid to HIV. When I lost a 19-year-old, I was working at St. Christopher's Hospital, and just to watch him slowly deteriorate, and how he never told anybody, and how his family reacted to like nobody really knowing, so he kind of died in isolation, and his family, trying to pray around him to like pray the disease out of him. It was really rough. And not just the fact that he was dying with the same thing that I had, but the fact that he had to die in silence as a child. At that moment, in those moments, watching him and watching the doctors around him and the nurses not wanting to come in and everybody wearing gloves and masks and, so forth and so on, is when I said, you know what? There's too many of us out here who are going through this, and we're not going out like this no more.
So what was that transition like for you, coming from, you having your own diagnosis and going through your journey, and then having to watch someone else go through it, and now saying, okay, I want to use my voice and my experience to help other people? What was that transition like for you?
The vision of Haven actually came to me when I was about 12 years old, when I was suffering through some side effects of the meds in my bed alone, and just wishing that there was other people who I could talk to about what was going on, because of course at the time there was nobody. Couldn't talk to my parents about it, couldn't talk to my mom about it because she felt guilty because I was burned and the transfusion. So I suffered alone, I suffered in silence. And I always envisioned a haven where I could go and talk about my disease on a regular basis. So that's how Haven got started. It got started in the brain when I was 12. But I'm on Twitter, on point. I'm on Twitter at William _Brawner. That's William _BRAWNER. And we are making a lot of moves this year. We have a tour scheduled in February. I have a book being released in May. The film that you saw a snippet of, we actually got a deal with Netflix. So it's going to be on Netflix in June.
Did you all announce that yet?
No.
So it's an exclusive? Ooh, bringing you that exclusive. Yes. Go ahead, sorry. I get excited sometimes.
That's cool, it's exclusive. Only for you. So, we have that, and then it's after Netflix, it goes to DVD in August.
Okay.
So we have a lot going on with just the William Brawner brand itself. And then as far as Haven Youth Center is concerned, we're expanding our testing staff. I just got approved to do hepatitis testing as well. So we're doing HIV as well as hepatitis testing. We have a camp called Camp Bright Feathers, where we work with 100 HIV infected and infected kids each year. And we have support groups. So 2015 is going to be our year.
As far as I know. So to be able to meet someone who has it and just have an honest discussion about where they're at and what they've been through, I think that is the beauty of love and humanity, and the fact that it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, you can always sit down and have a conversation with someone and learn something that maybe you didn't know before. So I truly just thank you, and I ask you all to give him a round of applause for sharing his story.
Because of World AIDS Day, my company decided to do our Safe Sex Saves Lives campaign, where we educate, raise awareness, and promote safe sex through our social media, and we just talk about the statistics of HIV and just ways you can protect yourself, and even just like encourage people that do it.
Is high and we've all been pulled, and we can save ourselves if we save her too.
Once you reach the top, you'll have it all. But I'm living for right now, so what if tomorrow never comes?
Hey love, Sincerely Syreeta here. You have just tuned into the last episode of Sincerely Chosen of 2014. Like, I cannot believe this. Just 6 months ago, we were just getting started, and now we're closing out our first, not necessarily full year, but our first full season of this. And so just thank you for tuning in, for riding with us, for being on this journey. It's only getting bigger and better. We're only going higher, and my prayer is that you stick with us. I promise you, we have great things in store. In the meantime, visit sincerelysyreeta.com. There's plenty of things there for you to check out. And of course, updates and all that other good stuff. Check us out online, social media, at Sincerely Syreeta, at SC Live Show. And yeah, for now, that's it. I'll see you in 2015.